Welcome to the Contabo channel. I'm Jairo from Contabo. Today, I'll show you how to configure a firewall for your cloud-based server, step by step. We will talk about firewall rules configuration, managing inbound versus outbound traffic, and using effective port management techniques to boost your network security. Let's get started. First, map out which services need to be reachable. This is the foundation of your firewall rules configuration. A typical setup might allow port 22 for SSH, port 80 for HTTP, port 443 for HTTPS. Everything else, block it. This keeps your network security clean and tight. Head over to your cloud provider's dashboard. Find the firewall or security group settings for your server. This is where you manage inbound versus outbound traffic, so be thoughtful. Open only the ports you need and specify exact IPs if possible for added network security. And do not worry, it's mostly point and click, no terminal needed here. Now, let's look at the server itself, specifically if you're running Linux. Linux servers typically come with a built-in tool called iptables for managing firewall rules. To check the current rules, open your terminal and run this command. This shows all active rules. If you see mostly blank lines, your software firewall isn't doing much yet. It's time to fix that. Now, allow all essential ports on Linux. To allow SSH, HTTP, and HTTPS traffic, run these commands one at a time. These commands add inbound rules to let traffic in through ports 22, 80, and 443. It's a classic example of good port management. Want to drop everything else by default? You can do this safely by setting a default policy. Just make sure you have already allowed SSH, or you might lock yourself out. Here's something important. You need to make the firewall rules persistent on Linux. These rules won't survive a reboot unless you save them. To do that, install the persistent firewall package with this command. Or in CentOS with this one. Then run this to save it. That way, your firewall rules configuration stay intact even after a restart. If you are on Windows, things are a bit more visual. Open Windows Firewall with Advanced Security and head to Inbound Rules. Here, you can allow RDP, which is port 3389, enable or disable HTTP or HTTP rules, and remove anything you're not using. Windows gives you a clean way to manage inbound versus outbound traffic. Just be sure to review your settings carefully. Then, test your setup. Once your firewall is in place, test your ports to make sure only the right traffic is getting through. For example, from your local machine, try this command. If that works, great. Your inbound traffic rule for HTTP is working. You can also use tools like nmap to scan open ports. And lastly, and before making big changes, back up your rules. On Linux, just run this command. And to restore, use this one. Regular backups and audits are key to long-term network security. Review your rules monthly and clean up any unused entries for better port management. And that is it. You have now got a solid understanding of how to configure a firewall for your cloud-based server. From proper firewall rules configuration to managing inbound versus outbound traffic and maintaining smart port management, you are well on your way to bulletproofing your network security. If you found this video helpful, like it, subscribe for more tutorials, and leave your questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching and happy hosting with Contabo.